in small clinics, small hospitals, but virtually throughout the country. So that is the concept. So let's just look at it one step at a time and talk about how this can impact us or show it in this. The first is to look that this is not just all of us talking about this. This is the same concept and similar conclaves being held in the US. You can see the amount of investment of AI in healthcare in the US. By 2030, it's projected that close to $200 billion will be invested in the field of AI in healthcare. If you look at the same concept in India, the same projections are holding true, which means that this is supposed to increase at a rate of close to 50% over the next decade or so. So the concept globally, it's not just in the US or in India, is how we can improve and have this function of AI in healthcare moving it forward. So if we look at some of these different areas, 6% global AI adoption rate in healthcare. So the number is still very small. This needs to increase as we move forward. In the US, it's twice the global average. So about 1 in 20 hospitals has started incorporating AI in their day-to-day practices. And of course, when you look at the amount of investment in healthcare, 85% of the different entrepreneurs, as we heard from the Honorable Chief Minister, are planning on doing some sort of investment of AI in healthcare. So it is a huge field which is ready for it. So let me leave you with a few use cases for all the entrepreneurs which are in the room of what we are looking at. The 4 major areas where I've broken this down into is improved diagnostics, workflow optimization, providing personalized treatment to our patients, and 4th, which I think is the most important, is remote patient monitoring and preventative care and how we can do it in this way. So let's look at some of these concepts about improved diagnostics, whether it is for skin conditions, CTs, MRIs which are being used, mammography, or for colon cancer detection, AI or computer vision is being utilized. I'll just share this video of how AI for breast cancer detection, early detection with mammography can be done. Physicians are there, doctors are looking at x-rays and mammograms, but for a huge population, you can miss it. So how can that be automated in a way that the machine gives you the calcification score on a mammogram, and it can look at millions of scans and alert the radiologist to the most important areas, so that that's the place where this can happen. I was talking to the Principal Secretary about similar cervical cancer screening, oral cancer screening that the government of Andhra has undertaken right now to do it. For workflow optimization, whether it's scheduling of patients, whether it is AI-assisted documentation of the notes, because most of the doctor's handwriting nobody can understand, so it's important that it's very legible and clear. For surveillance prediction, as well as administration and compliance, I think AI and automation can easily be done, and this is important and is available. These chatbots can be there. As doctors in India, everybody gets these phone calls. Why can't we automate this process in which anybody from rural Andhra can get on their smartphone and fix an appointment with the specialist that they want? Here I'm talking about the social security number in the US, but it can be the Aadhaar card number, so that you know that you're talking about the right patient for the right diagnosis with the right doctor who is there, and saying that this is the appointment which is available, are you willing to take that, so that the patient does not have to be on the phone for half an hour with some scheduling who does not know as to what the next step in this is. Personalized treatments. This is a company in the US in which they have their own signature, genetic signature, for all the cancers which are listed there. And based on that genetic signature, it can predict which patient will respond to which type of therapy, with degree of accuracy. So this is the personalized care that we can provide rather than doing the same chemotherapy for every patient with cervical cancer. It should be individualized because all of us are very different in our genetic makeup, and this is available right now. Finally, I think what is critical is this type of AI-driven remote care. So the doctor does not have to be there in front of the patient all the time. With smartphones, with iPads, computers, this can happen remotely. The patient's weight can be checked, the blood pressure can be checked by instructions which are given by the computer to the patient remotely from thousands of kilometers away. And the diagnosis can be made remotely so that you're saving time for the patient who cannot travel hundreds of kilometers in a bus and does not have access to specialists in very remote areas. So this can be done very remotely and is available right now for us to be able to implement in all of these areas. So AI-driven remote healthcare is also available. Finally, all of us have all these technologies which are wearable technologies. There are small sensors which you can wear, and the amount of sweat going into that sensor can predict whether you are due for a flare of your inflammatory bowel disease, or whether your blood glucose is going to be higher in the next 6 hours or not. So we have this whole IoTs which are available, which should be linked with healthcare right now. And of course, this will have a major impact on efficiency and cost savings. It will generate more revenue, just as we heard, rather than cost more in the short run, but it will be revenue growth. And finally, we have to keep the patient at the center of all of this. This is not about us as doctors or about you as entrepreneurs. This is all about providing for the patient who is at the center of this. Having said this, as compared to agriculture, energy, etc., this is a very sensitive issue. AI can hallucinate. AI may not be accurate, but we are dealing with lives of patients, so this has to be tested, retested, validated before we release this as compared to the other sectors of the government. So we have to be absolutely sure that the AI technology is working for our patient before we implement it as compared to the other areas which are there. The other area where I think the government of Andhra Pradesh can work together with the other healthcare sectors is by regulation. In the US, there is zero regulation on AI and healthcare. We don't have a policy at all, and we are lost. Europe is ahead of us. And you can see where India stands in this, but it's all state-driven. And I think if we have good regulation and policy in Andhra, I think it will help just promote all of this and take it to the next level. So here's what we heard again all day today is building this AI ecosystem which is there. And I'm delighted that Dr. Rakesh, AIG and others are working on this consortium because this is the way forward for all of us to take AI into the next level. To summarize, AI we know in healthcare is the future. We should embrace it. Let's not fight it, let's embrace it. It's not without challenges, specifically things like data security for healthcare. Patient privacy is a big issue. So we want to make sure that when all stakeholders align, we can conquer it very easily. And the healthcare, the future is extremely bright and promising, provided we channel it in the right way. So again, on behalf of all of you, thank you very much for having me. And again, my pleasure to be here with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pratik. I think that's the background, what he has given, the global perspective of AI in healthcare. Can I just have the slides? So on this note, what with the guidance and the thought process from Honorable CM, we started this foundation called AIM. It's stands for Alliance for Artificial Intelligence and MedTech, and we have got 4 stakeholders in this currently working on the AIG hospitals from Hyderabad and ISB Hyderabad, then we have IIIT Hyderabad and the AMTZ from Visakhapatnam. The main aim of this is to have a platform where anybody can come and pitch in, where we have the technology enabling from these IITs and IIMs and IIITs, and then the business thought process will come from the ISB, and we as validators for the clinical knowledge, and then we have the volume, so we will be doing the validation of the ideas and thought process in terms of technology. And with the very own MTZ here in Visakhapatnam, they will go with the idea and then we come out with a product. That's a thought process. And on this note, in fact, the government of Andhra Pradesh, I have seen pan-India, most of the EMR and EHR data, and I think the best state as of now in terms of data capture is government of Andhra Pradesh. We have to give a big round of applause to all the bureaucrats, officers and the government of Andhra Pradesh. And on that note, we started working on this, and with this consortium being formed, the first thing what we have done is we started a mother and child healthcare app to be developed after understanding the ecosystem. So can I have that slide? What's happening is we have the robust ecosystem, but there is some missing link in between the ANMs, ASHAs, and the command control. So on that note, we just started working on an app called Janani Mitra app. It's a purely app based for mothers. It's not for any of the other ANM or ASHAs. And what we have done is we have gone to a mandal called Kuder in Anantapur district, and then we rolled out this app. And can I just have the slides of that so that we'll just show in brief in 2 minutes without wasting much time what is being done. Okay, so I think they are playing the slides after my talk anyway, no problem. So that is what the flywheel what we have invented, and these are the initiatives what government of Andhra Pradesh already have on robust maternal and postpartum healthcare and so on and so forth captured. And the only challenges is, as I told you, the missing link between the mother as the end user versus the other paraphernalia. So on this note, the app what we have done, can you just show? So this is the app called the Janani Mitra app, which is a smart companion to the mother, where you have some SOS alerts also. The beauty of this app is that it's got a food scanner. Can you just show that, the next slide? So where the mother will scan the food and then understand how many calories she's consuming. In fact, on this I'll tell you, there's one person in this audience who knows better about nutrition and technology than any one of us. It's none other than Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. I, being his personal physician, I know he has his own data, entire data monitored by a team, and it's robustly captured, where he has got a sleep score, nutrition data, everything in one. And every minute it is captured and it is analyzed about the metabolic score. So on that note, this is the app, and I'll just give you a brief of what we have done. I'll ask my CTO Kinjal Saxena to just run the video and show you in 1 minute how this app is going to do a paradigm shift for mother care. In the state of Andhra Pradesh. Kinjal, can you just show them the app?
Thank you, Dr. Rakesh. Honorable Minister, all the respected delegates. What we are trying to do is, we are trying to leverage technology, artificial intelligence to simplify the life of mothers. What we have done is, this app will help all the mothers in all the trimesters through the entire journey of their pregnancy, whether it is health monitoring, medication monitoring, investigation, diagnostics, connecting them to ASHAs and ANMs.
as well as the diet care and other government access benefits and tracking them. So what do we do here is this is the food scanner. As you can see, they can just take the picture of the thali and it will give them the calorie counts. It will also tell them if they are taking the picture of a thali which is not adequate for them, it will actually monitor and tell them that this is high risk, they should eat more, they should eat better nutrition. So this is artificial intelligence embedded in the app itself. The most important part is this is not a mobile app that you need to download from Google Store or App Store, because in the villages there is not enough network. So what we have done is we have created a very simple progressive web app that they can simply open with the click of a button. So they don't need to do, and this actually works. So what you're seeing is something happening in the villages and with a much better speed compared to any other mobile app. What we are next seeing is next level of AI technology, where just by taking the picture of their eye, their tongue and their nails, an early detection of anemia can be identified, and whenever an anemic mother is identified, an alert will go to the respective ASHA and ANMs. The next, another challenge is, the other challenge is actually tracking whether the services have been provided to the mothers or not. And this is where the tracking, taking pictures and geo-tracking comes in. When the ASHA meets the mother, ASHA goes to the mother actually goes to an ultrasound facility. All of this can be tracked with the data and it can all be provided.
Thank you, Kinshal. That's in brief about. We are going to roll it to the entire state of Andhra Pradesh soon with this Udair as the start point. And I would like to thank GFST Takkar Garu and Honorable CM Garu and all the dignitaries for giving this the opportunity, and we are happy to work with this as a consortium in the future, and then whatever best we can do in enabling technology we will do. And then I again thank all of you for giving us the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Pratik and Dr. Rajesh. AIG will be executing an MOU in the afternoon during the health tech session. Now it is my pleasure to invite Chintalapati Srinivasa Raju Garu, who is popularly known as Srini Raju, a serial entrepreneur and a private equity investor, to give his address. Can I request Srini Raju Garu if he is in the auditorium? Okay. Then we will move on to the main panel discussions. The first session is on Deeptech, which is positioning Andhra Pradesh as a global leader in innovation and disruption. Before the session begins, we have kept a keynote address by Mr. Rajesh Dudu, who is partner Emerging Tech PwC. Rajesh Dudu is a seasoned professional with over 25 years of experience in telecom, banking and cyber security. He is an expert of blockchain and cyber security practices at PwC as partner. He is also driving innovation and digital transformation at TechM as top management leader. He is a global name in the deep tech and has great reputation in deep tech world. So what GFST requested Mr. Rajesh to speak on the Chief Minister's favorite theme, one family, one entrepreneur, a vision for 2030. So I will not get into the bullet points. I give it to Rajesh to deliver his keynote address.
Respected and Honorable Chief Minister, Honorable dignitaries, colleagues from the industry and students, Sabaku Namaskaram. I must confess that after the address by Honorable Chief Minister, one gets a little flustered because we just witnessed one of the best masterclass in technology. After that masterclass in technology, it becomes little difficult to assemble our thoughts. So I'll try to do my best.
It's actually an absolute honor and privilege for me to speak against the team or with respect to the team, which is one family and one entrepreneur. Vision 2030. We have heard from Honorable Chief Minister how the global technology companies have benefited from Andhra engineers. With the launch of this program, I am sure that there will not only be Andhra tech engineers in Bay Area, but there will be a lot of unicorns and soonicorns in Andhra Pradesh, and it is bound to happen. This particular program looks at about outlay of 30 lakh crore investment and looking at an FDI of about USD $10 billion. I wanted to say two things. One, with this program, we will see that there won't be a difference between a Bay Area entrepreneur and an entrepreneur from this region. We are already seeing in India, when you come across an Indian entrepreneur, especially the tech entrepreneur, and you talk to a Bay Area entrepreneur, there is no difference in capability. Of course, many of them are Telugus, so that will also contribute to the familiarity and similarity. But going forward, with the advent of this program, I think many such entrepreneurs will come from this particular region. And from a PwC perspective, we are willing to contribute. Sir had said that most of the programs are pro bono. So from PwC, we are willing to contribute because we are people who care. And for me, the contribution comes from a son-in-law of the soil attitude because my in-laws are from this particular region. So it's only important that I stay invested here. A lot of people have asked in terms of what Deeptech does. Deeptech actually comes into a play when you're looking at solving some deep problems that are entrenched in the society today. I'm going to pick up 3 such particular problems and explain to you how Deeptech contributes. The first one, in the area of healthcare, it's only opportunistic that I pick up the healthcare one after the session by the prominent doctors from AIG. Today in healthcare, you can use light to diagnose a number of diseases. For instance, for a long time, diabetics have suffered through invasive treatment. That means they have to put syringes and diagnose in terms of what is the magnitude of sugar that they carry in their bloodstream. But today, using photoluminance, you are able to diagnose the level of diabetes that is there. That is Deeptech. And in this country, we have seen a lot of things happening in the financial services space. But there are 2 things which again remain unaddressed. The first one is in the area of direct benefit transfer, DBT, where we know by virtue of DBT, the money is going into the farmer's account directly. But it is only 80% of the problem that has been addressed. What is the 20% of the problem? How do you ensure that those farmers do not misutilize the benefits for spends other than farm equipment, for anything other than farm improvement? So there comes a Deeptech concept using blockchain, which is called a central bank digital currency. And using central bank digital currency, you can bring in programmability of rupee. The rupee will be programmed in such a sense that if it goes to a grocery shop, it will be auto-declined. If it goes to a liquor shop, it will be auto-declined, and it will be accepted only in the areas which are contributing to that particular farmer's benefit with regards to his or her farm. The second one, interestingly, it is called as deep tier discounting. Many of us know in the trade finance area, the suppliers take their invoices and get them discounted with the banks. So let me give you an example. Here is an example of a computer supplier. The computer supplier has supplied equipment to an enterprise, and the supplier is getting the invoice discounted. Now, that particular computer supplier is taking parts, for example, mouse from a SMB supplier, from a small and medium enterprise customer. Now, that particular person, unfortunately, do not have access to the trade finance discount. That is going to change by bringing in what we call as deep tiered discounting, again using the transformative potential of blockchain, where the entire chain of suppliers are going to come on the network along with the banker. So the person in the downstream at the last mile who has supplied the mouse will also get his invoice discounted. What is it going to do? That particular person who is has been henceforth been utilizing finance at 18% interest rate now will get an access to a 9% interest rate from the banks. So this is how the deep tech is going to contribute. And these are not only in the areas of finance and healthcare, as Honorable Chief Minister had said. It is there in supply chain, it is there in InsurTech, it is there in GovTech, RegTech, AgTech. Any technology that you take, there's an opportunity for improvement. I had a good fortune of working with NEOM, the people who are building the futuristic society in Saudi Arabia. When I was working with them, I was introduced to another concept called cognitive technology. Today, we are talking about WhatsApp governance. We are talking about services being available in an app perspective. But everything has to be initiated by us. So here comes cognitive technology, which sits at the interface of application without your express consent. Once you define the algorithm and the logic, it is going to do work like Aladdin Genie, that everybody has access to an Aladdin Genie in their application. And to realize the grand vision of Viksit Bharat, it is quite essential that the vision of Swarna Andhra Pradesh has to be realized. And it is essential that we use all these technologies. Is there any other method of doing it? No, there is no other method of doing it. So we have to use this. If these opportunities does not resonate with you, there's one more area where the entrepreneurs can invest, and that is in the area of cybersecurity. I was reading an interesting article. It said while X number of people are trying to learn how to use ChatGPT, 3X are learning how to trick it. So there are more people who are trying to trick the technology. That's where cybersecurity comes to the fore. Sir, we have been the beneficiaries of government to citizen services. But there is an interesting personal experience that I would like to share. I got married in 2002. Post the marriage, I started getting to-do lists from my wife. I thought the to-do lists were only in the office, but my wife started giving me the to-do lists. What were the to-do lists? Pay electricity bill, pay utility bill, pay that bill and this bill. I used to hate that because the lines were huge until I got introduced to e-Seva. Once I got introduced to e-Seva, which was implemented under your grand vision, my to-do list became very, very short. And I used to go and ask my wife, give me more activities to do. So while it has contributed to the government to citizen governance, in my case, sir, it has contributed to marital bliss. And since it has contributed to the marital bliss, it's only important that I stay invested with all your initiatives, so my marital bliss will continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rajesh. Now we move on to the Deep Tech panel discussion. Before I invite the panelists, I have a couple of announcements. One, realizing the time constraints, I request the moderators and speakers, panelists to cut down their time as per the available this thing, not sticking to the original schedule. Second thing is, for the audience, you also have to sacrifice a couple of things. We have taken out your tea break, and lunch break also will be reduced because we have invited so many experts from across the country and they have a lot to share. So you have to bear with that. Before I invite the speakers, we have a very short film on Deep Tech session. Can we have the film, please?
Deeptech isn't just shaping the future, it's redefining what's possible. In Andhra Pradesh, this vision is becoming a reality, paving the way for a tech-driven tomorrow. Success speaks for itself. In Andhra Pradesh, IoT-enabled smart farms have increased yields by 15% while cutting water usage by 18%. Mobile health clinics powered by AI diagnostics have reduced patient travel times by 20%, delivering care to over 100,000 underserved citizens. And MSME digital transformation programs have boosted revenues by 40% for participating businesses. With a bold vision to become India's deep tech capital by 2047, Andhra Pradesh is harnessing AI, IoT, and blockchain to transform industries and bridge gaps. By 2030, the state aims to create one entrepreneur per family and empower MSMEs with blockchain-enabled loans and AI tools, driving 2 million new jobs. Guided by the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047, the Deep Tech initiatives focus on sustainability, equity, and resilience. From predictive analytics reducing disease outbreaks to AI-driven compliance tools simplifying MSME operations, Andhra Pradesh is setting benchmarks for innovation. This is more than innovation, it's transformation. Join Andhra Pradesh in leading the deep tech revolution. Together, let's build Swarna Andhra and realize the dream of Viksit Bharat 2047.
Let me invite the panelists. Mr. Rajiv Gupta, President, PB FinTech, known as Policy Bazaar. Give a big round of applause to the panelists as I invite them. Mr. Bala Prasad Peddigari, Chief Innovation Officer, Tata Consultancy Services. Mr. Varun Unia, Senior Solution Architect, Strategic Government, NVIDIA. Mr. Abhinav Gupta, Associate Vice President, Innovation, Broridge, India. And finally, I invite the moderator for this session, Mr. Sridhar Sheshadri. I am not introducing their profiles. They are very popular. You can just Google or LinkedIn. Their details are available. Over to Sridhar.
Excuse us for 2 minutes. There's a little change in format. We actually wanted to have Sivan Garu on the panel because then that's where a lot of ideas are shared. So we will keep the Q&A at the end of it with Sivan Garu, but we'll go ahead with the panel discussion. I'll join the panel now. Sure. So there's already a lot of discussion about deep tech. And with my background in artificial intelligence, machine learning, I got my exposure at Facebook when Facebook was setting up their first office in Hyderabad. I was the first hire for the platform team. And I got to work with some of the Stanford grads who came down for Rohan Murthy's wedding. They were his batchmate. And they introduced me to machine learning. And I realized the kind of impact it can have and the problems we started to solve at Facebook with that. And with now, I'm talking about 2010. And now we look back in these 14-year span, things have changed phenomenally. I mean, now we talk about machine learning, AI. The biggest change that has come, and it has normalized now because of the compute. The compute was not available earlier. The kind of possibilities with the ecosystem that has opened up, that's huge. It's just because of the visionary leadership that we had in United Andhra earlier, and the kind of possibilities were created that Facebook kind of company actually chose Hyderabad over any other city. So now getting started with the discussion, I know everyone has described deep tech in a certain way, just to make it a little easy for everyone's understanding. Generally, deep tech is anything which is connected to a little detailed, deeper research it's not only AI and ML as our visionary leader talked about it. There is quantum computing that you're going to hear. There is more to do with cybersecurity that you're going to hear about. There is dimension of IoT. So while you do deeper research into anything and solve real problems, that is actually deep tech. And that's where now AI, ML is going to like thrive. And that's one of the most demand technology. So starting with you, Mr. Rajiv, I know that if I have to draw a parallel from the days when people have to go into the queues, buy insurance policy, and worry about whether the agent is recommending something right or not, the days when internet was coming, to today, it's a kind of similar scenario when a disruption was done by Policy Bazaar and the aggregation system was brought online. And today, now we have a similar scenario where there is AI coming out. As a leader in that space of disruption of technology, what are your thoughts on deep tech?
Thank you, Sridhar. Honorables, Chief Minister, Honorable Ministers, and friends from the industry, and guests from Andhra Pradesh and the other states. I represent PB Fintech Limited that runs Policy Bazaar and Paisa Bazaar. And you are absolutely right, Sridhar. When I bought my first policy way back in 1990, when I started my career as a 21-year-old, an agent came and sold a policy to me, and I bought that policy thinking that I'll save some tax. I had no idea why we buy insurance, and I got that policy after 3 months, And the way insurance has been defined today in the country, Policy Bazaar started in 2008 with a simple comparison of different insurance plans available in the country for people to check before they decide to buy a policy, and that was done through technology. So we run a digital platform for selling insurance policies. From there to 2024, as we speak, we write about 16 to 18,000 crores of premium every year, and we spend about 400 crores on visibility on TV ads for people to know why they should buy insurance. Because nobody gets up early in the morning deciding to go and buy an insurance. We have to go and actually tell people why they should buy insurance. Now, having spoken about this, let me give you a background. I'll cover 3 challenges which this country has. Maybe I'm diverging a little bit. One biggest challenge which I see as an organization is how do we promote financial literacy in this country across nook and corner of every village and taluka. I think that's the biggest challenge we have. While Jan Dhan Yojana has certainly helped people to have bank accounts, but even today people struggle understanding how and where they should borrow the loan from, what is the requirement of a health insurance, why is insurance important. So a lot of financial literacy areas will have to be addressed, and that can only be done through deep tech and AI and technology. I can tell you one small example, paucity of time here, but we have set up, human representatives in about 98% of India's PIN codes who use technology platforms like what we provide to deliver knowledge in the local lingual. So where people sit in the talukas and villages, advising and teaching people on how you should, take a loan or how you should take an insurance. Second biggest challenge, while the Honorable Chief Minister spoke about India's population, we are very proud to have a young population today, right? But 10 to 12% of our population today are senior citizens. 2047, when we are all dreaming to have insurance for all, this number will spike to 30% or 35%. Now imagine 60% of this senior citizens do not have any income support system. In spite of the joint family system we are all proud of. There is no health insurance and there is no support system. So today's 40-year-olds are tomorrow's 60-year-olds. Now, this is the real missing middle. In my opinion, it is important to use technology to reach to every taluka and village and promote people to buy a health insurance plan or a pension plan for themselves that will protect them for the future, number one. Number two, I think we spoke about skilled manpower in this country. Now, if the country has to grow, I think rightly said, the skilled manpower is going to come from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Today, the biggest challenge is on one side, there is a loud noise about unemployment. On the other side, the industry is crying for skilled manpower. Whether it is hospitalization, whether it is insurance, whether it is banking, everywhere there is a need for skilled manpower. And most people who pass out from tier 2 colleges do not have a job right from the day they pass out. So I believe that the government, private, and educational institutions will have to work together using technology to create co-curriculum modules in these colleges in addition to their curriculum, so that when they pass out, 80% to 90% of them become employable. I think that is how we'll be able to create skilled manpower for the kind of growth we are looking at. So if 2047 means insurance for all, 2047 means pension for all, 2047 means a 30 trillion economy, and if the state of Andhra Pradesh has taken the lead way back in 84 to talk about technology, I think this is the place where we can begin to ensure that every taluka and village are adequately covered and protected in this country.
Great. So, if I were to summarize, you're saying Deeptech has to play a big role. AI will help build that kind of ecosystem where we can actually have more skilled resources and people actually contributing to all of the ecosystem. Great.
So I'll tell you, I'll take a hint from CM. He wanted one entrepreneur, one family. There is room for at least 10 policy bazaars and 10 health insurance companies who become unicorns in this country. Okay, that's the kind of scope which we have. If somebody can think about healthcare, this is the place to get in. We at PB FinTech are also setting up 1,000 hospitals over the next 10 years. And this is in tier 2, tier 3 cities. The whole idea is we need good healthcare system in this country. So I think clearly there is an opportunity for all of you, and elderly care is the next big business one should think of. 70 crore agar aged population hoga, there will be a requirement for elderly healthcare as well. So tremendous opportunities for the people who want to become entrepreneurs from this state. Please look at all these ideas and come forward. Companies like us are most willing to help, handhold, and also look at similar ideas to support them in future.
Great. So moving on to you, Bala Garu. So I know how TCS has changed the whole IT paradigm. Like if you look at the last era of technology, that boom happened, the transformation that we are seeing in the country, and what actually I believe started extensively in Andhra Pradesh earlier. Taking cue from that and what we have just now discussed, there is another dimension. We know TCS in a certain way. Being Chief Innovation Officer, what's the dimension of entrepreneurship? What's the dimension on skilling the startups? And what would be the role of Deeptech while we think about creating an ecosystem for startups? Because there is a conventional way people think about services company, which is transforming. And as an innovation officer, you have a perspective on it. We would love to hear that.
Love the question. First of all, I just want everyone to give a very standing ovation to the GFST team, please. This team has done some tremendous work. I believe we should all acknowledge that. Led by Tucker Garu, supported by the Sanjay Gupta and others. Thank you. And thanks, Sridhar, for inviting me for this, and it's definitely a pleasure. So first of all, within TCS, if you're trying to look at, we have a concept of innovation, which is spearheaded by our CTO. And our intent is to incubate innovation as part of the DNA of every individual within TCS. Being a part, I just want to draw the attention what we try to do and what other companies are also trying to replicate that. The first thing is mentorships. The intent about mentorship is how you try to build that kind of excellence of knowledge and impart that knowledge to the entire ecosystem. And bringing that experience to the ecosystem can play a vital role for the startups, and startups getting that knowledge from the companies which is surviving from decades can bring that excellence and a dimension to look beyond what their product is. And today we also try to incubate 30 to 40 startups every year as part of Coin ecosystem to ensure that we give them the opportunity to validate the solutions with our customers. The second important area where I strongly believe is it's setting up the incubation hubs. I heard CM Garu mentioned about setting up the Ratan Tata Innovation Hub. I'm really privileged to hear that, sir. And we all the way from TCS will be able to support that in that entire journey. But these innovation hubs, when they are all linked to the district level innovation hubs can play an important role, but that incubations need to be linked with the IT services play also. Because the industry mentorship and industry direction to this, each of the incubation hub can play a vital role, not only giving the business problem statements, but also ensuring that they're getting right level of coaching and mental mind map, which can allow them to build the products which are at a global scale. Today, we do not have a global products. That's what mentioned by Semgar. But we need to really look at how can we build that kind of a global scale of products which can increase our GDP. That's the second important dimension what I want you to drive, that collaboration angle. The third important thing which I wanted to mention is bringing that enterprise grade knowledge to the entire ecosystem can play a vital role. We spoke about IoT, Rajesh was mentioning about the blockchain. These are all the experiences which are there in silos. Getting that collective play is very important, and how you integrate that for the holistic product. Looking at you take about artificial intelligence, IoT, blockchain, quantum computing, they are all in isolation good, but unless they converge together to solve the problem of different industry, medtech or agri-tech, will not really help. So that enterprise grade knowledge and experience which is coming from the IT services players, which can be incubated as part of that entire journey, can really drive the excellence and also drive collaboration, which can really sustain for longer duration. So the collaboration for impact is there. So as CM mentioned about 4P model, I try to suggest here 4E model also. Public, private, people partnership is very key for the success, but I would say that when you're trying to drive such kind of a scale, it's important you need to look from the empathy, enablement, empowerment, and ecosystem. These 4E dimensions can really play a very important journey, because any product what you try to develop, it should be look from the consumer angle or the business angle and be empathetic. Enablement is important because the technology need to be available for the people to build up the solutions. Empowerment, so that they can scale the things. Ecosystem, they can truly leverage that availability of the resources to consume the things. Such things when we try to apply, I think sustainable transformation is key, and all IT services will play a very, very critical role in this entire journey to support.
Great. So if I got it right, you're saying the key thing here is mentorship, and definitely there's a big step taken by a lot of academia. I really want to thank all the academia and all the scholars who are here, who have yesterday in our session offered some of those kind of bits and pieces where definitely GFST would love to play a role, collaborate with you, and we would like to do something more in mentorship, entrepreneurship. That's one of the areas. Great. Varun, we'll move next to you. Like from what NVIDIA has been doing on stock markets and the rally, that's a great bit of it that everybody keeps talking about. Congratulations on that. But there is a high impact work that you guys are doing in Indian ecosystem. Coming from NVIDIA, definitely there is a lot of work that you're doing with different states on startups. I would love to know, how can you help our academia as well? There are areas of startup that NVIDIA is supporting. For Andhra Pradesh, how do you intend to support both of these areas, which is academia and startup? Because that is critical for us to have strong research coming out of academia and then being brought into some kind of business, which is an entrepreneurial thing. So we'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Firstly, thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be part of this panel and to be able to contribute to this discussion. NVIDIA builds full stack AI computing solutions, right from the chip level all the way up to the application and everything in between. And we have collaboration vehicles through which academia, researchers, startups, enterprises, governments can access our technology. And we work very closely with them in a collaborative fashion to build solutions that bring value through AI. We help them build their COEs, which are centers of excellence, where AI development can prosper, it can flourish, and these COEs provide easy access to technology, the tools, the resources for AI development. We have research programs where we do collaborative research with leading academic institutions and research institutions, and work on some of the most complex problems in AI and deep tech. We also bring our skilling and development initiative, through which we call it the Deep Learning Institute, through which we take on the challenge of skilling in the areas of AI and deep learning. And we do this through partnerships with academia and through MOUs with state education departments. And of course, we are supporting the startup ecosystem through the Inception program, and we help them not just with the technology, but also by connecting them through the venture capital network that we have. We also connect these startups with the customers who might benefit from some of these solutions that these startups are working on. Now, if I were to talk about how do we implement this on the field, for example, if I were to do this, or if we were to do this in the state of Andhra Pradesh, how would we go about it? We would start by academic partnership, where we would set up a COE in that institute or university. We will bring in the skilling and development program to scale the students, the researchers, the faculty. Within that AI COE, we can create two groups, one that focuses on research, and this group would have access to our research ecosystem and work collaboratively with us on some of the most complex problems of the state, new problems for which solutions are not there yet, right? The other arm can focus on rolling out mass AI solutions for the citizens, for the state, and develop e-governance services based on more traditional, conventional approaches and approaches that are already well known and well understood. We then create an incubation center within this COE and give rise to startups based on technology that comes out of this AI COE, which has commercial value, right? And these startups we can bring under our Inception umbrella and connect them to our developer ecosystem, our venture capital ecosystem, and customers as well. So this AI COE in itself, the Center of Excellence in itself becomes a microcosm which has everything that is there that is required for AI to succeed, right? And now what I do is we create multiple replicas of this COE, right? Maybe smaller ones, but now I go deeper into the state, deeper into the region, and create these COEs closer to my business hubs, closer to my growth sector belts, right? For example, I can have, while the main COE can be in the capital, I can have a smaller one here in Visakhapatnam that concentrates on use cases and challenges of the shipping industry, of port management, logistics, and then I can have a smaller one closer to the agricultural belt, another one closer to the manufacturing and industrial belt. And this is how we ensure that every industry has access to AI and deep tech, right? And if we can replicate this, then what we've created is an AI state. And if we can replicate this setup through the country, we'll be creating an AI nation, a Viksit Bharat, so as to speak. Thank you.
Great. So I request all the scholars, all the institutions, all the academia who want to contribute back to Andhra Pradesh, and you need that support. I've gone through the program details, what NVIDIA is offering. Definitely, it's a win-win for us if we collaborate. If you want to reach out to him after this session, please feel free to do that. Otherwise, please feel free to reach out to GFST team, and we will enable some of these collaborations. This is the best time where we have the leadership supporting us to build some of the best solutions. The departments, the bureaucrats have a very different energy. When we talk to them, we realize they want to solve for the problems, and we have some of the best MNCs trying to help us create the vibrant ecosystem. I think we have to just take advantage of that. Great. Moving on to your MNC experience at Broadridge. Abhinav, I believe there's so much of talent pool creation, and there are challenges of talent that we generally run into. I would love to really hear your thoughts on that. Like, what's the expectation? What are the good processes for talent pool creation? How does deep tech really play a role? How would we hire people for deep tech? Some thoughts on that.
Thank you, Sridhar. There are two aspects of talent. There is definitely shortage of talent. But the first aspect is the tech community, which is diligently building products, right? But the second aspect of Deeptech is there have to be people who can sell that product globally. So that talent is the real requirement right now, because we have built institutions, ecosystems which can build the tech side of talent, but product and business side talent is what we are looking for. And especially because sir has already spoke with his policies, right? There is a lot of GCCs in Hyderabad and across in the region, but now to build products from here and start owning the P&L is real requirement. Now, if you see a small statistics, right? So US has 75 million freelancers who have that business acumen, but in India it is around 15 million only for the population like us. So if we are thinking about having one entrepreneur from one family, and there's a spectrum of people we want, and so it would be fantastic if we can have policies, also infrastructure and academic relationship and design of the programs in such a way we encourage business mindset in everyone, so that more and more freelancers can come. Because Deeptech, what it does is it reduces the cost of prediction but also increases personalization. That means there are more niches, permutations and combinations and expertise which is required. So one person can't do it. So if we combine all those things, I think we are up to a solution.
Great. So taking next cue from what just now we heard from Abhinav, Rajiv ji, I would love to understand, because while we talk on policy, I don't want it to become a theory of that we want something to be around work from home, while we get to hear different stories, remote work challenges, we read all that in news as well. While you have such a large workforce and there are certain hybrid models, and with your own experience in industry, would you like to actually talk about what role would work from home will play, and how Deeptech can actually play a good role? I'm just trying to hear it from you as a veteran of industry, not just like from fintech. What are your thoughts?
So I think COVID brought a lot of disasters, but also taught us a lot of things, right? I mean, work from home has now become an acceptable norm across IT sectors and and technology organizations. Initially, there were a lot of worries around cybersecurity, worries around how this will actually be adapted, and will people take it seriously. But I think our experience during COVID showed that business never stopped, right? Business went on, and during COVID, the need for insurance only increased. So it's a proven model that work from home certainly, is the way forward. If particularly we'll have to reduce infrastructure expenses, I think using technology, if we have to set up offices in every taluka, in this country, or we have to have established presence, I think you can't have physical infrastructure of offices created there, And in more particularly, I think our experience shows that in the rural markets, women play a significant role. I can give you an example of a BFSI company which started lending loans ranging from 10,000 to 50,000, and this was only given in the villages. And the people who were employed by this company were local village women, and they also lent money only to the villages. So now they are, I think, present in 9 or 10 states, and you will be surprised that the NPA of this company, with an asset size of almost 1800 crores, is 0.05%. Now that means the people who borrow in the village are better paymasters than your, the industrialists. So I think what have they done? They have set up work from home for all these people. So they don't have offices, right? They work from home, and they travel to each village and go and sleep, in that same village in one of the partners' houses. So the borrowers are women, the employees are women, and it is all work from home, and it is working extremely well. I think the way forward is certainly to encourage this concept if each of us will have to, cover every nook and corner of this country.
Amazing. So rather than losing the opportunities to countries like Philippines and Bangladesh for cheaper labor, if we can build that talent pool in tier 2 and tier 3 cities and like some remote parts of our state, we can definitely bring that opportunity internally at a better price and still continue to thrive in tier 1 cities. That's one of the outcome that we can achieve with that, I believe. Great. Moving on to you, Balagaru. So definitely, as I said, TCS is seen in certain way. You spoke about startups. I would specifically try to understand what's your thought as a Chief Innovation Officer when you think about how would Andhra Pradesh use and maximize on deep technologies, though we have a lot of use cases, but when it comes to operationalizing it, execution, and the kind of discussion we have already had, someone coming from TCS, what's your personal opinion on this particular bit?
Before I say that, before I respond, I just want to understand the pulse of the audience here. How many of you came to this particular event without knowing Deeptech, but now you know what is Deeptech? Can you raise your hands, please? You don't know about Deeptech before coming here, but you know now what is Deeptech. Nobody is raising their hands. I see a few hands coming in. Great. So I think that itself is a success of the program, what it is. But again, before coming there, what TCS can do, I also want to tell that one family, one entrepreneur is a vision of a leader. But if this vision needs to be really translated onto the ground, one important stakeholder we all need to touch. Do you know who is that stakeholder? Parents. Parents. Parents' mindset is important because their mindset is they want their kids to be settled fast. How many of the parents sitting here really want their son to get into a job first, or daughter to get into a job first, not an entrepreneur? Many of you probably are not raising hands, but that is a mindset. That mindset transformation is important because parents need to particularly realize they need to allow their children to explore and experiment. Unless that kind of a cultural thinking gets shifted in the parents' economy of thinking, we will not be able to make this move a successful move. That's one thing I want to communicate. But coming forward, I just want to get another pulse. What comes to your mind when Andhra Pradesh as a word comes to you? What is your first thing comes to your mind? When Hyderabad comes to your mind, probably IT comes, cyber towers. But what comes to your mind when it is AP? Entrepreneur. Now. Chandrababu Naidu garu. I believe some of you might be looking at it, but what comes to my mind is agriculture, ports, and the potentiality of this particular place which can really drive manufacturing. But all when they get tied up, it's a IT which can really play a vital role in this entire sector. Now, how IT services teams or companies can play an important role is they bring that domain excellence into each of this domain for the startups. Provide that kind of an expertise and experience and nurture them to groom that startups to the next level. Bring that traditional experience, domain experience, operational excellence as a kind of a ecosystem play to contribute to the startups or to drive the journey. You take agriculture, we saw about the precision farming techniques. The future of agriculture is something which IT companies can play a role. Future of logistics, IT companies can play a role. Future of manufacturing, how it need to be, factory of the futures. The digital twin adoptions, all these things where we can bring that expertise and help and drive the things. The second area where I believe IT services companies can bring that experience is how do you scale? We heard about innovations, but most of the innovations are the jugaad innovations. But if you really want that innovations to really scale up, it need to be scaled and sustainable innovations. And companies like TCS and other IT companies can play a very important role in that entire journey to how do you scale and sustain. The third important area where we can contribute is about upskilling. Same Garu and others also mentioned, skill is very important element, but bringing that expertise in different sectors to apply skill in that particular sector play an important role. Now, AI in healthcare. We saw from Rakesh and Prateek, Dr. Prateek and Dr. Rakesh mentioned about AI in healthcare, what is happening across the globe. AI in healthcare, AI in agriculture, AI in retail. How these particular skills can be brought in specific to the domain. So that's why you see today one of the initiatives, I feel that need to be replicated here strongly. Telangana government announced about setting up the skills university for 18 different sectors and ensuring that around 20 to 30,000 people graduating every year. That is the vision they carry. we should replicate some of the best practices here. It's not about engineering degree, it's about how do you apply that knowledge to solve the problem. So that experiential learning plays an important role. That's where again the IT companies can bring that grab. Academia and industry collaboration can play a vital role to address that problem to a great length.
Great. Moving on, because there is a little shortage of time, so we'll try to keep it a little shorter now because there are more panels, but this is so much of valuable inputs for everyone. I'm pretty sure there's a takeaway for everyone from this one. So Varun, moving on a little quickly on this one, we know there are three bigger pieces that right now we talk from Andhra Pradesh policy perspective. One is social capital that we talk about, one is human capital that we talk about. I'm putting you on spot by asking, do you think we have potential to be the AI capital or deep tech capital for the world? I'm not talking about India.
Yes, absolutely. We have the skill set. Most developers that we have today, and we have quite a few across the country, all of them are turning into AI developers now because AI is going to be the future. And we have the infrastructure, the resources. We are starting to work on it. There is considerable effort from the government in building computing resources. We have the AI mission that has set out 7 policy pillars that touch everything from building compute to building AI applications to foundation models to startup incubation. And with all of that, and if we all put our efforts in the same direction and commit to it, I don't see any reason why we cannot become the AI leaders of the world.
Lovely. Thanks for that's high motivation for us, for everyone who is here in this room. That's the kind of mission we have on our mind and we should have. Like, why can't Andhra Pradesh be the AI global capital? I mean, if we go out with that mindset, everyone thinks of one problem statement, works on that, brings it back, and not necessarily everything needs to be commercialized. We have to contribute back for the future generations. I mean, that's the key thing. Ultimately, we have to build our nations. It's not only the government and governance, it's us as citizens who have to take that responsibility. And while we have this kind of forum, I request you all to take that first step and do your bit. Additionally, I mean, that's how we build societies and country, and we really can lead. We have a visionary leader who is doing this for us. We have to just stand with him, behind him, and be the field force to achieve it. Great. Just moving on to the next bit, last question for this panel. Abhinav, I would love to know, we have already heard there's a possibility of being the AI capital. I would love to understand 3 actionable ways as a GCC. What do you think? What are 3 actionable that we can take and we can be really something like in the deep tech space? How do we be something in that particular space? Those 3 actionables.
Got it. So first one is directly towards the policy, because I myself am a product of Sir's vision around Hyderabad tech schools, and then my office is just next to Cyber Towers, right? So taking that along, if we want to become an AI capital, the first thing is a robust policy, because the deep tech investments are happening in finance and retail the most, but there are multiple sectors, like there are blue oceans strategies which can be done in multiple sectors. A robust policy is the first one. Second is a full stack community which can support all the initiatives we are doing, which can integrate vertically and horizontally. That's when the magic starts to happen. And the last one, the third one, is to have bridges to global hotspots. Maybe Paris, London, Palo Alto, right? Wherever, right? And Hong Kong, we can even look east. So once we have those bridges, easy access of telemetry of knowledge from both sides is possible, then that's where we can really become powerhouse and profit centers inside this region. So that's my take on it.
Great. So I would like to thank you all for taking out time from a work day, from your busy schedules, and contributing back to the society. This is like very valuable. All of your insights are very valuable. So thanks a lot from bottom of our heart from GFST. I think we'll just move back and I'll hand it over to Ramprasadji.
Thank you, Sridhar. So we all pledge that we want to make future AI capital for quantum growth.
A big round of applause to all the panelists. Now I request Thakkar sir to stay. Sridhar. Tucker sir to give away mementos to our panelists. Please, sir, on behalf of GFST, please come. And also I request the earlier speakers, Rajesh and Praveen, Pratik Sharma, Rakesh Kalpala. We'll have a photograph. Yes. Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Minister.
Productivity to the next.
Panelists. Now I have an announcement. We are breaking for lunch because we are running short of time. Organizers felt that we will break for lunch. However, best we thought of giving food for thought. If you are hungry, you may not be able to focus on the discussions. So we'll break for lunch and we will exactly assemble here in 2:10. Thank you very much. CM sir also will adjourn for the lunch and